The release date of the movie adaptation of the highly popular webtoon Omniscient Reader's Viewpoint is coming closer each day, but instead of excitement, fans are experiencing outrage. From accusations of distorting historical facts to a trailer that left netizens unimpressed, it's safe to say that the movie is on thin ice and many believe it's destined to flop. Before we get into the reasons why, let's take a moment to thank today's sponsor, Surfshark VPN. Right off the bat, some netizens believed the idea of turning the webtoon into a movie was just a bad call. The original story is huge, as it spans over 551 chapters, with complex plot lines, hundreds of pages of character development, and a word-building depth that would be nearly impossible to squeeze into a single film. Many argued that a movie adaptation simply wouldn't do the story justice, no matter how high the budget or how impressive the cast might be. Fans suggested that a K-drama or even an anime would have made way more sense. With a longer format, there would be more time to explore the layers of the plot and the growth of the characters. A drama series of around 13 to 14 episodes of an hour long could cover the key arcs of the story, but a 2-hour movie feels like a rushed, watered-down version from the get-go. Although fans were already skeptical, the real backlash began as soon as the casting was announced at the end of 2023, and it hasn't gotten better since. The movie lineup includes some of the biggest names in the Korean entertainment industry: Ahn Hyoseop as Dr. Kim, Lee Minho as Junggeun, along with Chae Soo-bin, Shin Seung-ho, Nana, and Blackpink's Jisoo. Directed by Kim Byung-woo, known for The Terror Live and Concrete Utopia, the production team clearly aims high. But despite the star-studded cast, fans immediately pointed out a major problem: the actors don't fit the characters at all. Initially, the main issue revolved around the male leads. Fans have been especially vocal about Hyoseop and Minho not matching the rough, intense vibe of their characters. Many feel that the casting choices come off as awkward and mismatched, almost like when Japanese live-action adaptations miss the mark completely. Some even say that the male characters look too polished and lack the raw energy that made the webtoon so captivating. There's a general agreement among fans that Jong Hee-won's casting is the only one that actually makes sense, but the rest just feels off. The overall sentiment is that the live action looks too put together and lacks the intense vibe that fans were hoping for. Many think the production team focused more on securing big-name actors than finding people who genuinely fit the roles. It feels more like a commercial decision aimed at attracting an international audience rather than staying true to the original story. And speaking of international audiences, if you've ever tried watching K-dramas or Korean movies from outside the country, you've probably run into region blocks, and that's where today's sponsor comes in. Thanks to Surfshark VPN, you can access streaming platforms and unlimited content in seconds. Surfshark VPN lets you change your IP address to almost any country so you can access content as if you were there. For example, some Korean movies are released in South Korea first and take ages to become available internationally. But with Surfshark VPN, that's no longer an issue. And to make it even better, Surfshark VPN keeps your identity safe by encrypting everything between your device and the internet. So even if you're using public Wi-Fi, you can browse with peace of mind. So want unlimited access to Korean shows? Grab this exclusive Surfshark deal and get 4 extra months free at surfshark.com/MissK. Just use code MissK at checkout or scan the QR code to jump right in. You'll also find the link in the description and pinned comment. Browse safer, unlock more content, and give Surfshark a try today. Even the title of the movie has sparked intense debate among fans. Originally, Omniscient Reader's Viewpoint is a powerful title that perfectly captures the essence of the story. It reflects the unique perspective of the main character, Dokja, who experiences the plot as both a participant and an observer. The title highlights his identity as a reader who suddenly becomes a part of his favorite story, which is central to the webtoon's depth. However, the movie adaptation reportedly changes the title to The Prophet. Fans are frustrated because this new title doesn't encompass the true meaning of the story. While there's a moment where Dokja pretends to be a prophet to justify his knowledge of future events, this isn't his core identity. In fact, throughout the story, he repeatedly emphasizes that he's not a prophet. The entire story world is built on the premise that Dokja is a reader, not a seer. The change feels like a complete misunderstanding of the character's essence and the story's message. One of the biggest controversies surrounding this movie adaptation is related to the portrayal of historical elements that are part of the webtoon. Despite a massive production budget of approximately 30 billion Korean won, which translates to around 22 million USD, it seems that the filmmakers have failed to handle some of the story's most politically sensitive aspects with the care they deserve. In Omniscient Reader's Viewpoint, each character draws power from a constellation, a celestial, godlike being who grants people unique abilities. One of the central characters, Lee Ji-hye, played by Jisoo from Blackpink, is associated with Admiral Yi Sunsin, an important historical figure who famously fought against Japan in the 16th century. Traditionally, Admiral Yi is symbolized by his iconic sword and bow, representing his bravery and resistance. However, the recently released teaser trailer shows Jisoo's character wielding a gun instead of a sword, raising alarm bells among fans and historians alike. But that's not the only issue. The adaptation controversy has deeper roots, as fans are pointing out problematic changes that were previously made in other versions of the story. One major example is the Omniscient Reader's Viewpoint webtoon version released in Japan, where historically sensitive sentences were changed completely. Originally, a line referencing the Korean independence activist Gwansun was changed to mention a yin-yang master of contradictions, a figure linked to ancient Japanese culture. Similarly, a constellation linked to Ahn Junggeun, another prominent Korean independence hero, was reportedly removed altogether. Many critics believe that these changes were made to cater to Japanese audiences, which sparked accusations that the production was removing references to Korean nationalism to avoid controversy in Japan. These changes may seem like minor details to some, but to many Koreans, it's an important cultural issue. The problem isn't just about creative changes or even modernizing a story, it reaches the level of erasing important symbols of national pride. Characters like Admiral Yi Sunsin, Ahn Junggeun, and Gwansun aren't just random historical figures. To Korean people, they are highly respected symbols of resistance and patriotism. Reimagining them without their core attributes or entirely scrapping them from the story feels like a disrespectful erasure of Korea's struggle for independence and historical resilience. Therefore, Admiral Yi's weaponry isn't just a trivial part of his character, it's a symbol of his fight against Japanese invasion. Changing it to a gun disregards the narrative of resistance that defines his legacy. Critics are accusing the production team of not taking the necessary care to authentically represent Korea's history. Instead, they feel like the production team is prioritizing global appeal, even if it means sacrificing cultural integrity. In the context of past controversies where sensitive historical references were altered or removed for international audiences, it's understandable why fans are feeling particularly let down. In response to the growing backlash, Realize Pictures CEO Won Dong-yeon took to social media in February to address the controversy surrounding the historical changes. He acknowledged that cinematic adaptations often require creative adjustments to better suit the format and audience expectations. Drawing a comparison to the successful adaptation of Along with the Gods, which also made serious changes from the original story but still managed to retain public support, Dong-yeon tried to assure fans that Omniscient Reader's Viewpoint would follow a similar path. He emphasized that the script had been fully shared with the webtoon's original author, Ju Ho-min, who reportedly approved the changes. To further ease concerns, he released a poster featuring Yoo Jung-hyuk holding both a sword and a gun, clarifying that the character would indeed use both weapons in the film. Dong-yeon stated that despite the differences from the original storyline, the film would still stay true to the core message, characters, and world building that made the webtoon so popular. However, despite these clarifications, no further explanations were provided about the portrayal of Lee Ji-hye. This lack of a direct response regarding one of the most controversial elements of the teaser has left many fans feeling dissatisfied and even more frustrated than before. This dissatisfaction quickly turned into chaos among Korean netizens, who are urging fans to boycott the movie entirely. Even after Dong-yeon tried to explain the creative choices, fans simply aren't buying it. The response online has been overwhelmingly negative, with many feeling that the production team completely missed the mark. Fans feel like the adaptation is more focused on casting big-name stars than actually finding actors who fit the characters. A lot of people are saying that if Jisoo couldn't handle sword fighting scenes, they should have just cast someone else who could. The whole situation feels like a letdown for those who loved the original webtoon. It's not just about Jisoo's character using a gun instead of a sword. Fans are frustrated because it feels like the movie's just turning into a quick money grab instead of staying true to what made the story great in the first place. People are so let down that some are saying they don't even want to watch the movie anymore. A few even admitted that they regret spending time reading the webtoon in the first place, feeling like all that hype just led to disappointment. Others have mentioned that the movie shouldn't have been made at all, and that the production team should have just donated the budget to the creation of an animated series. Not only did the live-action adaptation spark outrage because of its content, but it also started a full-blown online fight between fans of the original work and those backing the movie. Fans of the first web novel are calling the adaptation disrespectful to the hard work of the original authors, feeling that the essence of the story has been completely lost. They believe the production team didn't put enough effort into staying true to the source, making it seem like the creators of the film didn't bother to understand the original at all. Meanwhile, supporters of the live-action adaptation argue that webtoon fans are overreacting. They feel that the adaptation is aimed at a broader audience and that day one fans of the web novel should just stick to the original if they're that upset. This mindset has only increased the frustration felt by longtime ORV fans who feel like the movie wouldn't even exist without the webtoon's loyal following. They argue that they have a right to criticize the movie's content, as this is a storyline they've cared about and have been supporting for years. This conflict between those who are just excited to see their favorite actors on screen and those who want a genuine retelling of the story has created a massive divide. With all this backlash, it's starting to look like the movie might flop before it even hits theaters. And don't forget, you can visit surfshark.com/MissK or use code MissK at checkout to grab 4 extra months of Surfshark VPN, ensuring you can enjoy your favorite shows and movies without any interruptions.